Welcome to one of the most haunted buildings on the eastern seaboard, the Randolph House. Over 2,000 people have died in or around the Randolph House since it was built in 1715, and many of them remain to haunt the home. The Randolph House was once featured by USA Today as one of the most haunted houses in the US. It was built in 1715 and purchased by Sir John Randolph, the only colonial Virginian to receive knighthood, in 1721. He later purchased the eastern lot in 1724. The house's troubles seem to start with the outbreak of the Revolutionary War. The governor of Williamsburg at the time, Lord Dunmore, made a proclamation that any slave that abandoned his rebellious owner and aided the British Army will gain freedom at the end of the war. Some of the Randolph's slaves did so, including Mrs. Randolph's personal slave, Eve. When the war ended, these runaway slaves were returned to their owners, and Eve was treated very harshly by Mrs. Randolph. She was then sold upon the death of Mrs. Randolph, forever separating her from her son. From the day on, the house suffered from bad fortune. A pair of men shot each other in a quarrel. 2 young children died from falling, years apart. And a Civil War veteran died mysteriously within the house. In fact, the earliest report of ghostly happenings is from a written account of the Marquis de Lafayette himself. In 1824, he went on a grand tour through the states to speak with veterans of the war. While in Williamsburg, he stayed at the Randolph House. On October 1824, Lafayette wrote about his experience in the home. I consider myself fortunate to lodge in the home of a great man, Patron Randolph. Upon my arrival, as I entered through the foyer, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It nudged me as if intending to keep me from entering. I quickly turned, but found no one there. The nights were not restful, as the sounds of voices kept me awake for most of the stay. In 1941, the National Park Service dug under the eastern side of the Randolph House to build a tunnel for the Natural Historic Parkway, disturbing the 2 documented Indian graves. The tunnel runs under the eastern side of the Randolph property. Since the home was built in 1715, and given that 2 graves were found by the side of the home along with the various pottery and other artifacts, it is likely that there are or were many other Native Americans buried under and around the Randolph House. This is the best explanation for the early hauntings in the home.